Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Tags, Groups, and Segments. My name's Kayla, and I'm on the customer education team here at MailChimp. Along with my teammate Nicole, we'll be your host for today's deep dive into these three key audience organization tools.
Hey everyone, like Kayla mentioned, my name is Nicole. Thanks so much for joining us. Just a reminder, we are currently working from home, so you might hear some noise or experience brief audio delays due to our internet connections. We know how important it is to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time. Knowing who your audience is and which messages resonate best with them is critical to successful online marketing. In MailChimp, we have audience management tools like tags, groups, and segments that help you to organize and target your audience more effectively. By using these tools, you'll be able to turn all of your insights into more targeted, segmented marketing.
Let's take a moment here just to quickly run through our agenda for today. First, we'll talk through some important things to remember when building and managing your MailChimp audience. Then, we'll explain how to use tags, groups, and segments for organization. Next, we'll offer guidance around creating your own segmentation strategy in MailChimp. And lastly, we'll outline what segmentation can do by walking through creating example segments in the MailChimp account and providing takeaways and next steps to get you going.
If you're in need of any technical assistance during or after today's webinar, we'd encourage you to visit mailchimp.com/help, where you'll find all of our free guides and tutorials. And with all of that said, let's kick off today's tutorial with some audience management concepts. We know for a lot of you, this may be a bit of a recap, but we just want to cover this so we're all on the same page throughout this training.
At its simplest, your audience is where you can find all of your data about your customers, your fans, and your friends. So with every new purchase from your website, each additional newsletter sign up, and every click your ads receive, you're gathering data that can tell you who your audience is and what they love about your brand. Now, as your business grows, so does the amount of customer data there is to keep track of. And that is where audience management comes in. Drawing insights from your audience data will become easier and more actionable if you get organized with tags, groups, and segments. Again, we'll discuss these tools in more detail in just a moment, but before we do, let's go over some important things to remember about audiences within MailChimp.
First up, MailChimp audiences are independent of one another, even if they're in the same account. This means that audiences don't share contact data or campaign statistics. This can make it harder to track the impact of your campaigns over time across all of your contacts if you're always sending to multiple separate audiences. Additionally, each time a contact is in multiple audiences, it will increase your monthly bill. For example, if you have the same contact in 3 audiences, they'll be counted 3 times towards your billing. We also realize many people commonly end up using multiple audiences when instead they should be using groups, tags, and segments within one audience to keep things organized. This is why we tend to recommend that folks stick to one audience if they can. It's easier to send communications, track data, and audience growth over time, as well as reduce your bill if you keep everything in one place with one.
Now, there is one exception to this recommendation, and that is if you need to talk to distinctly different audiences from within the same MailChimp account. One of the most common scenarios for this is if you have both a wholesale and retail customers. The contacts in these audiences will likely never interact with one another, and they would have 2 completely different sets of content as well as customer journeys. So in this case, it may be better to keep that data separate with different audiences. So then how should you be keeping track of all of your contact data? As you know, MailChimp is an all-in-one marketing platform, and we'd encourage you to think of your audience organization in MailChimp like you would a CRM or a customer relationship manager. When it comes to effective audience management, maintaining a clean, organized, and central location for your customer data will help you see a clearer picture of who you're talking to. And using groups, tags, and segments will help you to maintain the structure.
What's important to remember here is that the way you leverage your audience insights will look different each time you hit send. It just depends on your business needs and specific campaign goals. You'll want to use what you know about your audience to talk to people with common traits. So for example, 1 month, you might want to know what city your customers live in so you can plan a series of local events. Then the next month, it might be more important to know which of your customers purchased a specific product or if they signed up from a specific sale page so you can send them an offer. This is why MailChimp provides these tools that all work in slightly different ways to help you get the information you need when you need it. So with that, let's now jump into the differences between tags, groups, and segments, and we'll offer examples of when and why you would use each of these tools.
So first up, let's start by chatting about tags. Tags are really just labels that you create to help you organize your contacts. They allow you to add more information to your contact data that you wouldn't necessarily collect from your audience when maybe they sign up for your newsletters. So think about it this way. There will always be things that you know about your contacts that MailChimp just doesn't know. So for example, MailChimp can track how contacts interact with your campaigns, like if someone opens and clicks in, or if someone makes a purchase from your connected e-commerce store. However, there are a lot of things that you'll learn about your audience outside of MailChimp. Like if you meet a fan of yours in person, or a customer reaches out to you on social media looking for help.
Let's walk through an example. This is Danielle. She's a customer we met in person at a pop-up shop we hosted for our new handmade pet supply business we've started. And just as a note, this is a fictional business that we're using just for educational purposes for this webinar. All right, so by chatting with Danielle, we learned that she has recently adopted a puppy she loves to shop for, and this is where tags can come in handy. After learning this information, we could go into our audience and apply a couple of new tags. As this is the first pop-up shop that we've held, we want to create a brand new tag for pop-up. And then if we meet a few more people at our next pop-up shop, we can also apply that pop-up shop tag to their profiles. Soon we'll have a small section of our audience and they'll all have this tag pop-up shop applied. Additionally, we'll also apply a tag we've already created in our audience called dog lovers to Danielle's account. Now we've updated her information within our audience to include this brand new information. We can use that information to send targeted messages to people in our audience who have a certain tag applied to them. For example, we might want to send everyone a message that we met at a pop-up, sharing our e-commerce store with them so they can shop anytime online.
So let's go ahead and fast forward a few months. And let's say that we're now launching a brand new page on our site with new items that we'd like our pop-up fans to check out first. We decide to send the newsletter to all of our contacts who have that pop-up tag applied, offering a 15% off discount. Sending these targeted emails will make subscribers, like Danielle, feel special seeing personalized content, and it also helps lead to higher open and click rates for your emails. So with that example, we want you to remember that this is just one scenario, and tags are completely flexible. They can be applied to contacts individually or in bulk through imports. And you can organize them and use them however you want, in a way that makes sense for you and your business. If you have questions about how to import and add tags to your contacts, we definitely encourage you to check out our follow-up resources, which will include a step-by-step guide on how to do this.
But just for reference, we do want to show you this. When importing to your audience and using tags, you'll want to double check that this update any existing contacts box is checked to ensure contacts that are already in your audience are updated with the tag from your import. You can also see the tags page in the MailChimp app. You get here by going to the audience in the main navigation menu, and then choosing tags from the secondary menu. Here, you can see all of your tags for an audience, as well as create and manage your tags. The main thing to take away here is that tags are fully customizable and allow you to easily track contacts in your audience based on their unique characteristics that you learn about them over time. Keeping tags in mind for internal organization in your MailChimp account, let's move on to a tool that subscribers have some more input on, which is groups. Think back to times when you've seen a preference form on a website. When you're subscribing to the site's newsletter, perhaps the form asked you how often you want to receive emails, or if you want to see content based on some of your interests. In MailChimp, you can achieve this type of preference center through groups.
Now, unlike tags, groups let your contacts give you more insight into their specific interests. They're an easy way for contacts to self-select into different categories that you provide for them to choose from. We'll take a moment right now just to differentiate between tags and groups. We know it can be confusing, so let's go ahead and break this down. Very broadly, we like to think of tags as completely internal to your MailChimp account, meaning customers will never see these tags you apply to their audience information. But groups are customer-facing preferences that they can select on sign-up forms or on preference forms. So let's take Danielle from our last example. We know that she came to our pop-up and we added that tag to her profile. Remember, she won't see this tag as it's just internal to our account. A few months later, let's say that we send an update your profile request to subscribers in our audience. In this request, we're asking them if they want to opt in to any customer-facing interest group options that we've created, such as frequency of newsletters, which would include the options of weekly or monthly. Once she updates this form, we'll now know that Danielle wants to be contacted more frequently because she told us by selecting that weekly group option.
Groups are created through a form field that people fill out when they subscribe to your marketing, like the preference center we noted earlier. So here on the left, you can see what setting up groups looks like in MailChimp. In this scenario, we have a plant business, the potted planter, and we're asking our customers to tell us their level of gardening experience, beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Now on the right, you'll see an example of a sign-up form with the preference center we've been mentioning. The new subscriber can add in their email address and first and last name, as well as self-select their gardening level. Once we get this information from our subscribers, we can then send different information to beginners versus experienced gardeners.
Here's another quick example of how to set up groups. Say that we run an online health food store. Again, this is just an example. And in our newsletter sign-up form, we've set up the options for customers to choose to either receive content about all of our grocery items, vegetarian-only items, or vegan-only. If someone selects the vegetarian-only box in our form, we could use that information to send them emails about our locally sourced produce and vegetarian recipes. But remember, as we don't personally know everyone in our audience, we wouldn't necessarily have that information or have known that this person was vegetarian unless they told us when signing up.
So to wrap up talking about these two tools, at this point, you may be wondering, once I've categorized contacts into tags and groups, how do I actually send just those people targeted emails? And that is exactly where segments come into play. Segmentation is one of the defining factors of effective email marketing and messaging, as it allows you to break up your contacts into smaller sets of people based on similarities that you choose. When you do this, you can tailor your message to be more relevant and engaging to the people receiving it. Unlike tags or groups, you're not adding any new data to your audience with segments. Instead, you're simply using the data you've already have to categorize your contacts and then send those people specific marketing content.
Let's take a moment here to visualize what we mean when we say all of this. Here we have tags. These are the labels we created based on what we know about our audience. Then we have groups, and these are the things our audience told us about themselves. Now, these two things, tags and groups, are characteristics of our audience contacts. Segments are then the filter that helps you find contacts within your audience with specific shared characteristics. So say we're looking for those contacts in our audience who have both the tag pop-up shop applied and are also in the group category for vegan. These are the two characteristics that we would then input to build a segment.
Keep in mind that segments can have up to 5 of these criteria, but you can also keep things super simple and stick with only one piece of criteria, like only sending to people who have one tag applied. Of course, with segments, it's not just about groups and tags. They can go a lot further than that with other data we collect in your MailChimp account. Let's start with a segment, just pulling in data from one tag, then we'll build upon that with more complex options. So here you can see a super simple segment. We chose the criteria of tags, selected contact is tagged, and then picked dog lovers from our list of tags. This segment will now pull in every contact that has this tag applied. But say we want to take it a step further. We want to see everyone with the dog lovers tag, but we also want to add them to this segment if they were added to the audience after a certain date.
So here we kept our same segment criteria at the top, looking for everyone who has that dog lover tag applied. You'll notice that we added a second set of criteria right below that, where we're also looking for everyone who was added to our audience after September 1st. We're doing this because we only want to pull in the newest dog fans into our audience. We'll then send them a message to let them know about some of our upcoming trainings. And our existing audience members have already been informed about these classes, so we want to exclude them from our targeting for now. But you can also segment based on information you didn't even know that you had. For example, you can segment by everyone in your audience who has or hasn't opened any of your email campaigns that you sent in the last month, which is the information automatically collected by MailChimp.
In addition to audience activity, segments can also pull in demographic, behavioral, and e-commerce data. For example, you can get more specific and pull in everyone who opened a certain campaign or has spent more than $100. What's great about segments is that regardless of the criteria you choose, segments are dynamic and they update automatically with the latest audience data.
Now, there are some important things to remember when you're getting going with creating your own segments. We know that when a customer feels like a message was written just for them, they're way more likely to be receptive to what you have to say. And segmentation makes that kind of personalization possible. But where do you start to get yourself going? We have some things to think on. So first up, decide what your goals are. Ultimately, your customer segmentation goals are going to be unique to your business, and segmentation isn't a one-size-fits-all process.
Then you'll create segments of your audience based on your objective, whether you're looking to target customers geographically, by purchase history, or other shared characteristics.
You'll then target these segments with personalized campaigns. For example, you might want to target people who have purchased from you in the past and maybe live in your metropolitan area. You'll want to tailor your content to this new category of your audience.
And last, keep an eye on your reports and make changes as you go. Marketing is really all about testing. Analyzing your segmentation efforts will provide insight into the way you've characterized your audience. So, With all of this in mind, let's now head into our own MailChimp account and then create some segments together. So we're going to pull up that MailChimp account page here. And to create segments, we can navigate to our segments page. To do this, we'll select Audience in the left navigation, and then select Segments from this dropdown.
Now from this page, we'll be able to create and view simple and complex segments, and then save the segment for later use. As a quick note, if you're working with more than one audience, you'll just want to double check that you are in the correct audience here in this left side dropdown right there. This is the audience we want to work with, so we're all good to go. Now, as you can see, this is our segment page, and if yours is looking slightly different, that could just depend on the plan that you're on. So you can always find out more about which plan you're and what features your plan has to offer at mailchimp.com/pricing. All right, so once we've confirmed the audience and we're all good to go, we can then select this Create Segment button right here on the right. So as I just mentioned, standard segmentation combines up to 5 conditions and is included with all MailChimp plans. If you are looking to create those more advanced segments, you can always upgrade to our premium plan to create segments which support multiple nested conditions. We've already walked through creating a few simple segments earlier, so let's now create a couple with a little bit more complex conditions.
To begin, when you combine segmentation criteria, you always want to pay special attention to the Contacts Match drop-down menu. All pulls only contacts who meet the combination of conditions you choose and can be thought of as and. For example, contacts who have a certain tag applied and live in a specific country. So only people who fit both of those criteria. Any will pull contacts who meet any one of the conditions you choose and can be thought of as or. So this could be contacts who have the tag dog lovers or pop-up shop applied. So anyone with either of those tags could be included.
We're going to start by building a segment that works with our e-commerce store integration so that we can target customers based on their e-commerce data. If you haven't connected your store to MailChimp yet and are interested in doing so, we would encourage you to check out this integrations page in your MailChimp account, and you'll just find that right over here on this left menu. Once you select that, you'll be able to find an integration that works for you and get going from there. Now, as we want our contacts to match every single condition we're about to add, we're going to make sure to choose all from this contacts match dropdown right here. In this example, we'll be pulling a segment of contacts who made a purchase in the past but haven't bought anything recently. Our goal in doing this is to re-engage our former customers and target them with a special offer. As we have quite a few contacts who haven't purchased from us in some time, we are hoping to entice them to come back and shop with us again.
For the first condition here, we'll set the drop-down menus to Purchase Activity. Then we'll select Has Purchased, and then Add. For the second condition, set the drop-down menus to Purchase Date, Is Before, and we're going to choose a specific date. In our case, we're going to choose November 1st, 2020. We're looking for people who haven't made a purchase in quite a while. All right, so if you're happy with this segment, feel free to select the Preview Segment button to see who matches your conditions. Remember, if too many or too few contacts match your conditions, feel free to test different ideas and combinations out. Other ideas of using e-commerce data to build segments include things like combining sign-up source with purchase activity to find subscribers who signed up to your audience online but haven't purchased anything yet. Here's another thought. You could do purchase type and amount. So you'll find a few purchase-related segmentation options, as well as several ways to filter for amount spent. For example, you could combine category or product purchased along with spent, the total, to find subscribers who have invested in certain types of products from your store.
All right, let's go ahead and just start right from the top again and create another segment together. So for this, let's just go back to our segments menu over here on the left. We'll create a regular segment and we're going to hit create segment again just to start with a brand new clear form. Now, this time we'll want to create another segment of local customers to send location-specific content to. If you have subscribers all over the world, some of your messages may vary based on your subscribers' locations. And you can use location conditions with campaign activity to find subscribers who might be interested in similar content within a geographical area. So for this example, we'll pull a segment of subscribers who opened a specific related campaign we've sent, or who live within 25 miles of a target area. And for this case, we'll use the location of Atlanta, Georgia, which is MailChimp's hometown, just as the example location. So this time, we're going to choose any from the contacts match dropdown right there, as we just want to find subscribers who have either opened that campaign that we mentioned or live in the area. Now, for the first condition, we'll set the dropdown menus to campaign activity under subscriber data, opened from the second dropdown, and then we'll choose our Atlanta local event reminder campaign that we've sent out. And then we're going to click add so that we can add the second condition. And for this, we're going to set the dropdown menus to the first one, location, again, right under subscriber data, is within from the second. Then we're going to choose 25 miles of, and then we'll just type in Atlanta, Georgia. We're then going to click validate location, this button right here, just to get an accurate point on the map. And then we'll select use this location if it looks right. Next, we'll go ahead and choose this preview segment button, and we'll see what it pulls in.
So that's how you can get going. If we like the segment, which in this case we do, I'm going to choose to save this segment right here, and we can now name our segment. In our case, we're going to call it local events. And now anyone who matches either of these conditions will automatically be added to this segment. We can always find it by navigating back to audience and then selecting our segments. So to easily launch a campaign for this segment, we can select the drop-down arrow next to the saved segment and then choose send. And since we'd want to send a regular email campaign, we'll just choose regular. This will launch our campaign builder with our segment already populated in our to section, seen right here. Just like that. In this case, you'd fill in your subject line, design your campaign, and get it out into the world. And just a note while we're here in the campaign builder, we wanted to show you a few other options for sending segments or tags in your audience. So let's click into edit recipients here in the to section. And if we click in this drop down under segment or tag, we can see all of our sending options. You'll notice we can choose to just send to one individual tag, or we can pick from a variety of pre-built segments that MailChimp populates for you automatically. So now that we've discussed all of these tags, groups, and walked you through crafting some segments, we've just about wrapped up today's webinar. Now, we know this has been a ton of information, so to end today, we're going to discuss a couple of key takeaways from this tutorial with what's important to remember as you continue on finding new ways to reach your audience with MailChimp.
Now, remember to organize your contacts in meaningful ways. Make a plan for your audience and think about the information that you have about your contacts and what you wish to collect about them. Don't collect information just to have it. Use it. And if you don't need it, think about making space for other information instead.
Use tags and groups as a basis for segmentation. Remember, tags and groups are ways of categorizing and labeling the contacts and audience, either by information only you would know about your contacts or through the information audience members share with you. Using these two tools enables you to keep track of your contacts and helps you to send targeted campaigns. Segments ultimately are used to tie everything together, your audience data, as well as your tags and groups, and they can all be used together within a segment.
And finally, as a pro tip, you'll want to keep your segments more widely defined. Although the point of audience segmentation is to aim for specificity, it is possible to segment your audience too far. It's essential to have a smaller market with a defined need. However, if your market is so narrowly defined that it barely contains anyone, you'll either reach too few people or you'll end up spending time and energy writing messages for too many different audiences. Ultimately, you always want to be sure to keep an eye on your engagement and your data to see what's working and then make changes as you go. And so with those final thoughts, we have wrapped up today's session.
Thanks so much, everyone, for hanging in there with us. Kayla and I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this tutorial, we also have a variety of other webinars available to help you use MailChimp. There's a link in our follow-up email to our schedule of upcoming topics and dates. And additionally, we'll be including the recording of today's session along with helpful resources in our follow-up email to get you on the road to success using tags, groups, and segments.
And always, on behalf of everyone here at MailChimp, Nicole and I just want to say thank you so much for joining in, for learning along with us, for dealing with a couple technical hiccups always, and we all hope that you have the best rest of your days. Thank you so much.